Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media.
Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to a subdivision on Jacob's Ladder Road near a town called Mountaintop in Wright Township of Luzerne County, Pennsylvania. The elevation in this area is around 1,500 feet, and the rolling hills are packed with fir trees, 3 species of maple, 3 species of birch, as well as serviceberry and muskwood. Bushes like elderberry and chokeberry provide shelter along the ground and yield their seasonal fruits to humans and animals. Common and plentiful animals here include elk, turkey, and white-tailed deer. The predators of this area include bobcats, coyotes, and black bears. About 110 miles to the southeast is the big city of Philadelphia, but state wildlife officers have declared all of Pennsylvania as bear country. Around Mountaintop, black bears have become a more common sight in the last few years. A longtime resident reported seeing only 2 black bears during his 22 years in the subdivision, but one of those sightings was of a bear running off with a 50-pound bag of bird feed it had snatched from his garage. Residents here have been feeding birds for decades, but this fat-rich food is also a preferred food source for a growing population of black bears. Jacob's Ladder Road has a few subdivisions that protrude into the surrounding forest. It is a beautiful location, cloaked by largely uninterrupted stretches of forest for tens of miles to the east. It's just the kind of habitat where bears can live and never see a human being, unless they choose to. In the world of bears, particular noises are more interesting than others. Whenever their cubs are in trouble, they have their own version of a distress cry, and sows respond to it with thunder and lightning. Many of the young prey animals they feed on, such as calf elk, fawn deer, and injured rabbits, emit a high-pitched scream or cry to locate their mothers or as a sign of general distress. There's no way of knowing if the cries of playing children sound like any of these sounds, but it may have been a factor in today's episode. On May 2, 2023, a 5-year-old child, whom we'll call Jimmy, and his 14-year-old sister, whom we'll call Jill, were playing in their driveway. It was common to see the neighborhood children playing in the forest around the subdivision, and Jimmy and Jill's outdoor fun was just another day of laughter and enjoyment for them. All around the children's home, the trees pushed in very close to every house in their neighborhood, giving each one a feeling of privacy and isolation. The dense undergrowth not only granted the residents solitude, it also allowed wildlife to come within a few yards of homes in secrecy. As the children played outside, their mother took care of chores and kept an eye out for the kids. Jimmy's momma heard him crying out for her and emerged from the home to see a horrifying sight. A black bear had emerged from the brush near the home and had set its focus on her babies. As she ran toward the bear, it fled, leaving her children injured and bleeding, but alive. She quickly loaded them into the family vehicle and drove them to Wilkes-Barre General Hospital, about 12 miles to the north as the crow flies. Once the children were admitted to the emergency room, they were treated for bear bites and claw wounds. Though their injuries were not life-threatening, the incident was very concerning to residents and wildlife officials. Authorities immediately knew they needed to make sure the citizens were safe. Based on the description of the bear from the children's mother, they knew that they had no chance of differentiating the bear that attacked the children from the others. They decided to set out 2 culvert traps around the subdivision to see if they could catch the bear before it could attack anyone else. Jimmy and Jill's clothing was swabbed for DNA from the bear's saliva, and the samples were rushed to Dr. Jane Huffman of the Wildlife Genetics Institute at East Stroudsburg University in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. A DNA profile was pulled from the samples, and now the wildlife officers had to track the bear down that matched it. The Pennsylvania Game Commission monitored the traps and captured a bear in each trap on the evening of May 27th. One of the bears was a boar, and the other was a sow, and both appeared healthy. DNA samples were pulled from both bears and rushed to Dr. Huffman for comparison to samples pulled from the clothing. After a few days, the results were back. They revealed that the boar was not involved in the attack on the children, but the sow was involved. She was immediately euthanized, and her remains were examined for rabies. The rabies test is done only after the animal is dead, so her euthanization was part of the investigation. She was not found to have the disease, which allayed fears of officials as well as area residents. The boar was relocated to a remote stretch of forest far from the subdivision in hopes it would establish itself there, away from people. The Pennsylvania Game Commission estimates that the state has a healthy population of 15,000 black bears. Statements were issued to the public citing that the reasons for the attack on the children were unknown, but could have been caused by a bear being cornered by the curious children. They stated that dogs may trigger attacks, but the children were not accompanied by a dog. Black bear sightings in Pennsylvania have been rising, alarmingly around larger cities. They have been reported in Philadelphia, Montgomery, Bucks, Delaware, and Chester counties, and have been caught on security cameras mounted at homes many times. Black bears have been observed in Highland Park and Hill District in the city of Pittsburgh, less than 1 mile from downtown. I could find no source that indicated any city in Pennsylvania has a bear hazing program to drive bears away from urban areas. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I have a few questions for you. Do you think development is encroaching on black bear habitat in Pennsylvania? Would a municipal hazing program receive your support if you lived there? Was this bear trying to eat the children, or was it somehow cornered by them? Do you think the bear would have killed or severely injured Jimmy and Jill if it hadn't been driven off by their mother? I will gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so please post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it.
Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.